Hello, friends. Happy Tuesday. It's time for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. This is Lena Gersa. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada, where it is a gloriously sunny spring day. And today I am feeling the spring vibes. I am all about the gorgeous Floral Delight Suite from the Stampin' Up! 2025 January to April mini catalog. Now, if you live in Southern Ontario, or probably actually a lot of North America, when spring hits, we get lots of yellows and greens. We get the dandelions first, which are not necessarily everybody's favorite, but it gives us some color in all of that gloom from winter. So we get lots of yellows. So we got dandelions, and we get the daffodils, then we get the forsythia, and then the green grass, and the color just explodes after that. But for me, spring is all about yellow and green, yellow blossoms, green grass. So the Floral Delight Suite is all about yellow and green, and I have loved playing with this suite. I've been playing with it for a while. I purposely put off showcasing it until we were in the first week of spring. Spring arrives here in the Northern Hemisphere, I suppose, on Thursday, March 20th. Yes, that's Thursday. So very exciting to welcome spring, and it's so nice to feel that warm sunshine and see the snow disappearing. So we are going to play with this suite. I'm going to show you the products. I'm going to make 3 cards with you. I have lots more samples to share at the end, so you'll want to stick around for that. I am going to warn you, we have been having Wi-Fi issues for about a week now. My husband actually put in a call for a tech to come out. Yes, they're coming out tomorrow. He called yesterday. They did all kinds of things remotely to try and fix whatever the issue is. It's not fixable. So they are sending somebody out tomorrow. So if my Wi-Fi drops, as it may well, I will try to jump back on, but I'm just putting that out there. If it doesn't, if I can't get back on, I will finish recording the video and then splice it together with the live and post the replay. Okay. But I just wanted to put that out there because yeah, Wi-Fi is not my friend right now. So if you are joining me, whether you are watching live or catching the replay, please comment, let me know. All right, here I am. I'm just trying to get my desktop camera going here. And we will maybe be back in business. I apologize, everyone. My Wi-Fi is not my friend. Remember when we were little kids and when we had a fight or an argument with someone, we'd say, "You're not my friend anymore. You're not my friend anymore." Wi-Fi is not my friend anymore. All right. I think we're in business right now. We're just gonna hope and pray that I can get through this. All right. I'm not going to make any promises. Like I said, our Wi-Fi has been really, really inconsistent. And I'm afraid that I'm going to drop, but let's keep going. And like I said, if I can't get through it, I will record everything and post a replay. Okay. All right. So here is the beautiful Floral Delight Suite from the mini catalog. This just screams spring to me. It's all about yellows and greens and springy colors. So I couldn't resist doing this or featuring this suite on the week when spring arrives here in Southern Ontario. So let's show you the products and then we'll get to our projects. Okay. All right. The sound is better. Okay. That's good. Yeah. I think the sound kind of cut out because the Wi-Fi was wonky. It probably will be wonky again. It's not been consistent at all this week. So here's hoping the tech that's coming tomorrow can fix it. All right. So here is the beautiful bundle from this suite. It's called Delightful Wishes. We have a large wishing stamp and then several sort of build your own sentiment add-ons that you can combine it with. And then we have some lovely florals that are sort of 1, 2, 3, 4-step stamping for this Forsythia branch. This one is just a 2-step stamp. So lots of layering possible with this one. And then, of course, we have our dies. So this one cuts out our Forsythia flowers. There's our branch. We've got this nice little label die to cut out our sentiments, but I love this word die. I love whenever we get word dies. So we have the word wishing and then a shadow. Now this shadow or open die also cuts out the stamped wishing. Okay. And then of course we've got additional dies. This is a peek through die to build some flowers. You're going to see those in action on our first project. Okay. So that's the bundle. And then, of course, we have gorgeous papers. A suite wouldn't be a suite without all the gorgeous paper. So this is just, now you're going to see I've got partial sheets of some of these because that's all I had left. But we've got these gorgeous spring flowers. So Forsythia, there's some more Forsythia. We've got some, I don't know, Cosmos, I think those look like. Another Forsythia pattern. We've got some marigolds and some cosmos, and then I think these are all marigolds as well. And then when we flip over, we've got some more neutral patterns. There is an echo. Let's see if we can deal with the echo. How's that? Is that better? Okay, I'm hoping it is. Tech is not my friend. Oh, goodness. Okay, so we have this gorgeous sort of linen in old olive. We've got a yellow gingham. Love, love, love that pattern. We've got this beautiful stripe. It's very delicate. And then we've got this sort of lattice pattern in the little bitty Forsythia. Let me see if there's anything else I can do. No, I think that's all I can do to try to mute. I'll get rid of the echo. I'm sorry, folks. We have this burlap pattern, which I am almost out of. And then we have this beautiful sort of mosaic pattern in the Daffodil Delight. Okay, so that's the DSP. But then we also get gorgeous printed vellum. So we have this one. Now I should mention this one actually coordinates with the dies. So I can cut out my little Forsythia flowers with the dies. They line up perfectly. We're going to use those on one of our projects today. I love this delicate Forsythia pattern with the pool party background. And then we've got a pool party gingham. So you're going to see these on some projects today as well. And then, of course, wouldn't be Stampin' Up without coordinating embellishment. So we've got this 1/8 inch wide Daffodil Delight satin ribbon. Love this ribbon. And then we have our tiny bee trinkets, these adorable itty bitty bumblebees. So, so cute. Now, these ones are currently in stock. They're due in, I think, the first week of April. So a couple of weeks yet to be able to get those. I'm going to keep these handy because I'm going to need them for our projects. All right, I feel like I have to rush because I'm afraid my Wi-Fi is going to drop again. So if I'm talking too fast, I apologize. All right, so our first project is this one. So it's got some stamped flowers and some die cut flowers. Just a really simple one with some layered DSP. So let's put that one together. So we're going to start with some of that beautiful striped DSP. This is 4 by 5¼ inches. And then I have a 1½ inch by 4 piece of that sort of mosaic pattern. So we're going to layer that onto our background panel. I don't know, about 3/4 of an inch in from the right side. Okay. So we'll use our grid paper to get things on nice and straight. There we go. Slide my grid sheet to the right. Is that better? Okay. All right, so there is that. Excuse me. Then we're going to add some ribbon. Now this ribbon is very delicate. It's only 1/8 of an inch wide, and I wanted it to have a little bit more pop on this. So I'm actually going to use 2 pieces of ribbon. This is a little trick when you have really narrow ribbon or twine. Using a double thickness or a double layer of it and spacing it out a little bit actually gives it a little bit more presence on your project. So I'm just going to take and add here 1 length of ribbon, and you'll notice that this is not centered because I'm going to add a second one beside it. Okay, so there's our first one. Then I'm going to take another length. And we'll add this, and this is where you just want to try and get them relatively centered and spaced nicely. And we'll add a glue dot and secure this one. Okay, so you see how that just gives that ribbon a little bit more oomph. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and glue that onto our card base. So this is actually, it looks like it would be a 10 fold, but this is actually a book, or like opens like a book, not a book full, but it looks like it opens like a book. So this is 11 long, 4¼ wide, scored at 5½. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and fold in half along my score line. And then add some glue. And we'll pop this on. Just like that. Okay, isn't that, I love that pop of, and I love that the width of the ribbon is the same as the border. I just feel like it looks nice and balanced. I love it when things are balanced. All right, let's work on our sentiment. So I have here, this is one of the Countryside Corners label dies that I've cut from that sort of burlap pattern from the DSP. And we're going to start by stamping Wishing in Pecan Pie ink. And I just re-inked my Pecan Pie, so this is going to be quite a bit darker than it is on my sample, but that's because I stamped with a very dry pad. Oh, you know what? This looks like it's the wrong, oh no, it's not. It's okay. It's the right size. I'm just going to let my G kind of trail off the edge a little bit, which is totally okay. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to add You All the Best, Wishing You All the Best. We're going to just tuck that in. I'm going to have to move this a little closer so I can see what I'm doing. And hopefully get that straight. Not bad. Okay, so there is our label die. Okay, now we're just going to go ahead and pop that right up onto the front of our card. And then we're going to add our flowers around it. Are you guys still there? I hope you are. I'm not seeing any comments coming through, so I always get nervous. If you're still there, let me know you're there. All right, so we're going to adhere this off center, just like that. Okay, and then we're going to build our flowers. Now, I've already done most of my stamping here, just in the interest of time. So I'll get these out of the way. That's for the inside. But let's build our die cut flowers first. So the solid flowers are die cut from Lemon Lolly cardstock. Okay, and then I've die cut the layers from Daffodil Delight. So that's going to give me that sort of two-tone look. And I have used adhesive sheets on the back of the layers, the detailed die cuts, just so I don't have to fuss with liquid glue. Now, I really struggled when I first tried these out. I really struggled with how to match these up. And if you look at your detailed flower and you look at your solid flower, there is one spot where the petals are the same. Do you see this one and this one? Those line up. So if you focus on that one petal and then stick everything else down, you'll get it lined up properly. Okay, so it's that one petal there that lines up. All right, with this one, let me just get rid of my backing here. We have, where are we? There we are. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong ones here. This one here, this pointy petal is going to line up with this pointy petal. So I'm going to line that one up and then stick it on. Oops. That was less than straight. There we go. Okay, so the pointy petal on the right on the smaller flower, the rounded petal on the left on the larger flower. Okay, now we're going to add our flower centers. So this die, you may wonder when you get them. So I'm going to show you this die here is for your flower centers. Okay, so I just cut. You just run it through once, and you get both centers. And then this little, I don't know what to call it, little texture die, looks like little, I don't know, floof. We're going to use that to add a little bit of detail to our flower centers. So I'm just going to ink up, just using the corner of my pad, I'm going to stamp on the large one. And then I'm going to use the smaller one on this little guy, just add a bit of texture. Oops, you can't even see that. There you go. You can see it's just got a little bit of texture on it. Okay. All right. Now these little guys, we're just going to put a dab of liquid glue in the center here. And then the easiest way to deal with these is to use the blue goo end of your take your pick. And this will line up. There is a spot. I just have to think about it now. It's been a while since I made this card. There we go. Your center will line up with your large flower. This one, not as much. It's just going to kind of plunk in there. Okay, so there are our two die cut flowers. Now the leaves, there's actually detailed and solid leaves as well. So I've done the smaller one, but here are the two larger leaves. So there's a solid leaf and then there's a more detailed one. I did not use adhesive sheets on my green cardstock. So I'm just going to put a little dab of glue here and layer these. And they layer right on top of each other, just like that. Okay, and there's my small one already done. And then for the stamp flowers, we're going to stamp on Lemon Lolly cardstock in Daffodil Delight. Okay, so let me just grab that. And I'm going to do my sort of backwards stamping trick once again. So I'm going to ink up, that is not the right flower, I need the solid flower. So I'm going to ink in Daffodil Delight, I'm going to stamp off. And then I'm going to take my negative die cut, or sorry, my blank die cut, and you'll see there's like a big gap in the die cut, and you'll see there's a big gap in the stamp. That is how you line that one up. Okay, and then, okay, we'll do one more. Stamp off. And there we go. So that is our solid image. Then I'm going to come in with a detailed image. Now this one, I'm not going to worry about trying to perfectly line up. It does line up. I think it lines up right there, but I'm not going to worry about it because it's really just adding some extra texture to our flower. Okay, just like that. All right, then we're going to bring back that little floof stamp again. and add centers to each of our flowers in the pecan pie. So I'm going to give this a quick clean because I don't want to get ink where I don't want it. You haven't made it work yet, eh, Charlie? Keep practicing. It works really well once you get the hang of it. Start with photopolymer stamps. It is easier to do on photopolymer than on rubber. But once you get the hang of it, it is a huge time saver. So I'm just stamping all of my flower centers. And then the last thing we need to do is stamp our leaves. So I have here the leaf stamp. And once again, I'm going to do my little reverse stamping trick. So we're going to ink up with Old Olive. Sorry, I lied. Is it Old Olive? Yes, it is. I did Old Olive on Old Olive. So it's tone on tone. And again, I'm going to take my little leaf die cut. And there we go. All right, now it's time to build us some flowers. So the large flower, we're going to add our 2 die cut leaves. So I'm going to go ahead and add some glue dots here. So we'll go 1. And where's my other one? Sometimes I can't decide which way these leaves should go. That works for me. Okay, so there's our little flower. So we are going to kind of just nestle that at the top of our label here. So let's get a couple of dimensionals. I'm actually going to put my dimensionals on my card front. That's just to make sure that I don't overlap the popped up label because then it won't lie flat. I'm going to add a little bit of seal to my flower where it's going to overlap, if my seal wants to work, where it's going to overlap my label. And then we're just going to tuck that on there, just like that. Okay, our second flower is going to tuck behind that. I'm just going to use 1 dimensional. And we're just going to kind of have that peeking out behind our large flower. Just like that. Okay, now these guys, we're going to add a leaf or a pair of leaves, I suppose, to each one. Now, again, like the quickest way to do this is to just get them stuck all on a glue dot. I've stamped more leaves than I need, but that's okay. We can change the design. So I'm just going to go ahead and add some leaves to the back of each one of our little stamped flowers here. There we go. And then we're just going to tuck these in wherever we feel like we need them. So I'm going to add, again, a dimensional right beside my label. And then I'm going to pop my little flower on there. And then same thing up here. I'm going to tuck my dimensional in and add a flower. And we'll tuck another one down here. And we'll add another flower. Maybe we'll tuck this guy in underneath like that. There we go. You like that? Should we add this last one? Sure, why not? Let's add one more. There we go. How's that? All right. Next is to add our bow. I got to find my ribbon. There it is. It's buried under some dimensionals. So we're just going to tie a cute little bow with our pretty ribbon. Hi, Rosemary. Welcome. You missed all of the tech issues. We had some Wi-Fi goings on, so I'm just going to warn you. It could go out at any moment because our Wi-Fi has been very unstable this week. They are sending a tech tomorrow to try to figure out the problem, but of course that's too late for my weekly live, but you know, we're just going to roll with it. Okay, and then the last touch is to add one of our cute little bees here. Now these are not self-adhesive, so we need to use a little bit of liquid glue. They're actually so small that a glue dot is too big to glue these. So I'm just going to put a little dab of glue and then pick up one of my little bees with my blue goo end of my take your pick and pop it on. And we're done. You like that? Now on the inside here, I just added a white layer, a little bit more of the DSP. I stamped happy birthday and then another little flower there. Okay, so there we go. That's number one done. You like that one? A little more involved than I typically do for my first project, but you know, this is a great suite. I couldn't resist. All right, so let's move on. Number two, so our next two cards are both fun folds, but they're relatively easy fun folds. Okay, so this is just a simple gatefold card. Heather, the bees are supposed to be available, I think, first or second week of April. So it's still a few weeks before they're back in stock. Okay. All right. So this little gatefold card uses vellum and a little bit of the DSP. So it's that same sort of mosaic pattern that we used on the last card. But what I love is the softness of the vellum. So I've used vellum on the front. And then look at how pretty that floral is on the inside. So pretty. So this, it's super simple fun fold. This is a really, again, a great sort of beginner fun fold. If you are a newer stamper and not super confident, doesn't require a whole lot of fancy measuring. So to put this together, we have our card base. It's 5.5 by 8.5. And our scoring is at 2 1/8 in from each short side. So I put it in my trimmer and scored at 2 1/8, pulled it out, flipped it around, scored at 2 1/8. Okay, so then we're going to fold inwards. That's what's going to create our gatefold. So I'm going to do my first fold, crisp it up. Now, when I go to do my second one, I'm going to kind of bend it inwards, but then I want to make sure that I butt the edge up against that side that I just folded in. That's going to make sure we don't have a gap or an overlap in our gatefold. Okay, so once you've got that butt up against the first side, you can go ahead and crisp up your fold. Okay, and that'll give you a nice clean seam there in the middle. Okay, all right, let's decorate our card base here. So I have 2 pieces of each pattern in the vellum, and they're measured 2 by 5 3/8. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and glue the gingham on the front. Now, when you are gluing vellum, do not use liquid glue. It is not vellum friendly. Okay, do not. The best way to glue it is with some type of tape. If you are gluing straight vellum, the best way is actually to use adhesive sheets because they don't show at all. But the seal works fairly well with this pattern vellum. It does not show. So we're going to just add a little bit of seal. I'm not going to use a whole lot. I'm just sort of putting it in the corners and along the edge. Come on. There we go. And we're going to pop that onto one side of our gatefold. Okay. Now with that closed, we're going to go ahead and glue the second one on. The reason I do it with it closed is so that I can line my edges up and everything's really neat and tidy. So I'm going to stick this down and then I'll show you how basically invisible the seal is behind the vellum. That's the trickiest part about using vellum, is figuring out how you're going to stick it down. All right, so I'll hold that up and you can see, even though I used it in the corners, you really can't see it. It's not visible. Okay. All right, so that is our front of our card. We're going to open it up and we're going to add this beautiful floral on the inside. So again, I'm going to use little bits of seal. You could use tear and tape. You want something that is not liquid. Okay, the liquid glue and vellum are not compatible. You will live to regret using liquid glue with vellum. So there's one, and then same thing here. So these obviously are the same dimensions as on the front, 2 by 5 3/8. So we'll pop this one on. There we go. And then across the middle, I have a 3/4 by 4 1/8 inch piece of the DSP. Now this one I can use liquid glue on because it is just regular DSP. So we'll pop that on there. Okay, and I'm keeping that same 1/16 of an inch border that I had on the flaps just to make it nice and consistent. Okay, so that is our card base. Really easy, right? Now you could certainly leave it like that. I like using a belly band to decorate the front of my card. You certainly could glue this label onto one flap, but this way it keeps the card shut and is a nice way to finish it. So let's work on that. So to build our belly band, this is 1.5 by 11 inches white cardstock. And I'm going to close my flaps and I'm just going to wrap my strip around my card. Now, the best way to do this is to make sure that everything is straight. So I'm using my grid paper to make sure my card is straight and my strip is straight. And then I'm just going to kind of hug my card. So I want to come straight across and straight across on the other side. I'm really just burnishing with my fingers right now. I'm not going to really crisp that up yet. Okay. Caution, you don't want to make your belly band too tight. Otherwise, it's too hard to slide on and off your card. Okay, so let's add a little bit of liquid glue here. And we'll wrap that back around and secure it. Okay, I'm just going to give that a second. Make sure that's well secured. And then we're going to add a layer. This is 1 3/8 by 4 1/4. Now you're probably wondering, the whole card is 4 1/4. Because our belly band is going around, it's actually a 1/16 of an inch larger. We didn't really intend it that way. That's just the way it happens when you wrap it around your card base. So we're going to glue that on. That's going to hide our seam and make everything look pretty. So we'll pop that on here. Okay, and now our seam is hidden. We're going to add our label and our seam will be like it's not even there. Now that that glue is set, we can slide our belly band off and burnish those folds that we just kind of finger folded. Okay, and that gives us our nice tidy belly band. All right, now to create our label, I have this hexagon. This is from the Wildly Flowering. Is that what it's called? Wildly Flowering? I think it is. My dies are over across the room. So it cuts out this frame and this little label. So we're going to actually add a little color to this label so it stands out a bit. So I'm going to start with some Pool Party ink and my blending brush. And we're just going to come on from the edges just to give a really soft bit of color to that white label. I don't want to be too heavy-handed because I don't want a ton of color. I just want it to have a little blush of the blue or the teal, I suppose. Okay, it doesn't look like a lot, but when I layer it with the white, you can see the difference. Okay, all right, now we're going to add our branch. So my branch is die cut from Pecan Pie cardstock. I did use adhesive sheets on the back. So we're going to kind of lay this across. Obviously the branch is longer than our label. That's kind of intended or done intentionally. So we're going to go ahead and peel our backing off. We're going to lay this across our label at a bit of a diagonal and then trim off the overhang. So we'll do 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, and there is our pretty little branch. Then we're going to add some of our die cut vellum forsythia. So do you remember how I showed you that the die lines up with the forsythia pattern in the vellum? So it makes it really easy to die cut flowers to add to your projects. So again, because this is vellum, I am using seal to adhere them. I'm not going to pop anything up, no dimensionals, because they will show through our vellum, and we don't want that. So I'm just going ahead and adding, let's put one up here. Let's add one over here. This little guy, I don't think we're going to need because I kind of covered it, and we'll add one more. We'll go here. Maybe we'll add this little guy right at the top. We can do that. So again, just a little bit of seal to adhere these. You don't need a whole lot. So there we go. There is our forsythia branch. Wildflower design. Thank you, Louise. What would I do without you? All right, so now to adhere this, the easiest way to build this is actually to put your belly band on your card front. That is so that we know where the center of our belly band is. Okay, because what you want is your label to line up with the opening in our gatefold. Okay, that's going to give it a nice centered look. Now I'm actually going to start by adhering my label, my decorated label first. We're going to add a couple of dimensionals to our belly band. Actually, I might do a couple more just to make sure this stays put. So we'll get rid of these. And then we're going to adhere this, and I'm paying attention to the top and bottom points, and I want to line them up with the folds or the opening in my gatefold. Okay, done. Next, this is going to get glued on. We're actually going to tuck this sort of in, and it's going to get glued flat. Now, because this is this has a die cut pattern in it, we don't want to use liquid glue, right? Because that is going to ooze through our die cut pattern. So I'm just going to take and apply a little bit of seal to that scalloped edge. I'm going to sort of slide this in around my label here. And again, easiest to do this standing up so I can see when I'm centered. And I'm paying attention to the pattern in my frame here. I'm lining it up with that center point. Once I get it where I want, I'm just going to press that into place. Okay. All right. Almost there. Next, we are going to add wishing and you a happy birthday. Now this is stamped in Pool Party ink on white cardstock and then die cut with the open die. Terry, yes, the only thing unavailable right now for in the suite is the bees. That's correct. And then my happy birthday is heat embossed in white on Pool Party cardstock. Okay, so what I'm going to do before I try to adhere this to my card, I'm actually going to put a little bit of seal on the end of my label here, and I'm going to adhere it to the bottom of my cursive G here. That's just going to make this all much easier to get lined up on my card, because we're going to pop this whole thing up together. So I'm going to use some mini dimensionals, and I'm going to overlap where my word overlaps my label. That's just going to help everything stay where I want it. And then I'm going to take and trim some half minis. So I'm just going to take and cut in, and easiest way to deal with these is with your pokey end of your take your pick. And I'm just going to add a couple half minis to the spots that are too big for full minis. And then we're going to do one more on here. Get that little guy. We'll pop that one right on there. All right, now we'll get rid of our backings. And then we're just going to lay that on the front of our card. Just like that. Oops, that's crooked. Even I can see that. There we go. Okay, and then our last touch again is one of our cute little bees. So we'll add a little dab of glue and grab one of our little bees here and pop them on. Now, the good news about these little bees is that they are in the new annual catalog. So we're going to have them for a whole year. I'm quite excited about that. All right. Now, on the inside of my sample, I stamped All the Best, which is from this sentiment. So I just inked only the All the Best. I'm not going to take the time to do that now because I want to show you this last card. It's super cute, and this is going on too long. So here we go. It's all the technical issues we had at the beginning. So let's get to it. Our last card is a diamond easel card. So it pops up and stands like that. Okay, again, not a super hard fun fold. It's just a little bit of extra maneuvering. I have to grab my pencil because I forgot it. So let me show you how to put this one together. Yes, I know, Diana. I think it is linked to the Wi-Fi issues that I'm having. A couple people have mentioned that. I cannot seem to get rid of it. So I do apologize for the echo. All right. So I'm starting with a 4 1/4 by 11-inch piece of basic white cardstock. This is thick basic white. And I have scored it at 2 1/8, 4 and 5 1/2. So 2 1/8, 4 and 5 1/2. Again, these measurements are in the video description. Okay. Now I'm going to turn it so my score lines are here, and I'm going to mark this bottom edge at 2 1/8. So the center point at 4 1/4, right? So 2 1/8. Then I'm going to take a ruler. I'm not going to try scoring. I'm just going to take a ruler. I'm going to line up my ruler with that little tick mark and that first score line. And I'm just going to bend my cardstock in. This is going to help form my diamond. Okay. Once I've done that, I can go ahead and crisp that up. So I have a nice, neat fold. Okay. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So you don't have to be a fancy scorer. You just have to be able to measure 2 1/8. And again, I'm going to line that up. I'm going to bend this in to start my fold. And then again, I'm just going to pull this in so that I get a nice point. Don't worry if this overlaps a little bit. Don't worry if it's not perfectly straight. Not going to see it. Okay. All right. So that is my diamond. These other score lines, this one that we just kind of used as a guide, we're going to fold upwards. I'm just going to fold that up this way. Okay. The next one, I'm going to fold upwards as well. So a valley fold. And then the last one is going to be a mountain. I'm going to fold that under. Okay, so we have mountain, valley, valley, and then our flaps. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is glue these flaps down because that is going to form the point for our easel. So again, I'm going to burnish those really well. We're going to get a little liquid glue going in here. And we're going to stick those down. Okay. All right. Now we're going to add a little bit of DSP to our segments up here. So I'm using some of that burlap pattern. I'm just going to dump all my bits out here so I don't have to fish around in the bag. We're using these two pieces. So on this larger segment, this piece is 1 5/8 by 4. So that's going to get glued in there. So we'll go ahead and do that. Pop that in. Okay, now this one is, what is this? 1 1/4 by 4. But before we glue that down, we're going to add a little bit of ribbon. So again, I'm going to grab a glue dot. And we're going to center this just like that. Okay, and then that is going to get glued to that top segment. Okay, so we'll add again a little bit of liquid glue. And we're going to take care to line up the edges with the previous piece that we glued down just to make sure everything is nice and even and square. Okay, once we've done that, we can go ahead and glue this segment down flat. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and again add some glue. And we're going to glue it down flat. Okay, so whoops, stay stuck. Don't move it too soon when working with liquid glue. Give it a chance to set. There we go. And then you're going to see how our easel is going to stand up like that. Okay. All right. Now let's decorate our focal image. So I have lots of layers. You know, I like my layers. So we're starting with an old olive square. This is 2 7/8 square. Then I have a white square that is die cut using the Stylish Shapes dies. It's the largest square from that one. So we're going to go ahead and layer that onto our old olive. So we'll go ahead and add a bit of glue. Now I have super narrow borders on all of these. So if you like having a little bit more room to work with, you could certainly adjust your measurements so you have larger borders. I like narrow borders. It makes my heart happy. And then I'm adding a piece of the gingham DSP. This one is 2 5/8 inches. So again, we'll just go ahead and layer that. There we go. Okay, and then that is going to get glued to our point here on our easel. So we want to make sure we're only putting glue on the triangle. So I'm putting it actually on the card rather than on my piece. And then we're going to layer that right onto our triangle there. Just like that. Okay, you can see how that's going to stand up. All right. Okay, now to decorate this, we're just going to use fussy cut flowers from the DSP. So this is super quick because we're not going to do a whole bunch of stamping or die cutting. We're just going to stick down a bunch of flowers. So I'm just going to add a little bit of seal. And then we have our blank label. We're going to stamp all the best wherever it went. There it is. Again, in Pecan Pie ink. Now I'm going to stamp this a little bit towards the right so that I have room to add my flower. Okay, so there's you all the best. And just like we did on the last card, we're actually going to adhere our label to the G on wishing before we go and pop everything up. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue here. And we're going to layer this. Okay. Oop, did I get that in the right spot? Let's put a little bit more seal at the end. It's not the best gluing job. Let's get that straight. Using your grid paper is a good idea when you're trying to get things straight. And then we're going to add this little flower. It's going to kind of tuck in behind. And then we're going to adhere our W from the wishing to the flower. So it's going to kind of tuck in here. And then I'm going to add a little bit of seal. And that kind of gives me a nice stable piece to pop up. It's easier to pop up when you have a larger piece than when you have a whole bunch of little individual bits. All right, so now, again, we'll just add some dimensionals. And we'll cut a couple half minis as well. Oops, that one did not cut all the way through. Let's take one that did. So we'll go one there, and one there, and maybe one down here, just to make sure that stays put. And we'll get rid of our backings. And then that is going to go on right across our diamond, just like that. Okay, now for the inside of an easel card, you need something that's going to catch your easel. So we are going to create this little panel for us to write our greeting, but we're going to pop that up, and that is going to catch our easel. Okay, so we're going to start. This piece is, what is it, 2 3/4 by 4. And then this little guy is 3/4 by 4. So we're going to go ahead and glue that little strip of DSP on first. You'll notice there is not a sentiment inside this card. This sentiment, wishing you all the best, could be for pretty much anything except maybe sympathy. There are so many occasions you could use the sentiment for. So I like to just kind of leave it without one, and then I can add one depending on what I need at any given time. Now this is a flower that's fussy cut from the edge of the DSP. Don't throw those edges out because you can use them against the sides of your cards, just like that. Get a little bit of glue under the leaf there so it stays put. And then that is going to get layered on our old olive panel. So this is 2 7/8, I believe. Yes, 2 7/8 by 4 1/8. So we'll go ahead and add a little glue to that one. Just like that. Okay, and then finally, some dimensionals on the back of our old olive piece, because again, we need to pop this up so that our easel catches. So we will glue this on. And again, whenever I'm gluing a large popped up panel on, I like to stand up because I can see better what I'm doing. There we go. There is our easel. You like that? All right, so we're going to add just another little bunny bee. These are not bunnies. I do know the difference. Oh, goodness, it's been a day. Let's grab one more little bee and pop him on. And then our last touch, of course, is to add our bow up top. So we're going to grab our ribbon once again and tie another little bow. There we go. And then we're just going to pop that on with a glue dot. I like to do this last because then I can see where my easel point is, or my diamond, and then I can get it centered. Just see that? You can line it up easily. Okay, so there is our final card. Let me bring back all of our projects, and then I have a bunch more to show you, so don't go away. A bunny would look cute. I agree, Terry. And very spring-like, right? All right, so there are our 3 projects for today. Let me show you a few more ideas with this bundle, or suite, I should say. So here's one. This was literally just scraps from my table that I threw together. So there is that idea. This is one I think I did for my launch party way back in January. Now I have to mention the die, when you're cutting out the wishing, the detailed wishing, the dots on the eyes are microscopic. They are so small. So this is a like take it out from your die and stick it down immediately because you will lose it situation. Okay. It is so easy to lose those little dots. Just public service announcement for that one. Here is a really quick and easy thank you card. This I think was from my bingo event. Here is a fun fold that was from my customer appreciation event that can you tell I love this? I used it on all my events this spring. So this one opens like this, another really easy fun fold. This one often uses a belly band as well to hold it shut, but I designed it so that the label actually catches the flap and helps to hold it closed. And then this was a super popular suite for swapping. So this is a really cool swap card I received. It's got a window. So they cut a window with the vellum. I love that. And then here is a pretty Z fold. And then there's another pretty, now here you go. See, no dots on the eyes. This one too, no dots on the eyes. They didn't have the patience to deal with them. But there you go. Lots and lots of ideas for this beautiful Floral Delight suite. Do you like these? All right. Okay, let me go back and say goodbye properly. Thank you, ladies, for sticking with me. I so apologize for the Wi-Fi issues. Here's hoping that the tech from Rogers can get it sorted out. We don't have this issue next week. I apologize for the echo and all the annoying tech issues. So thanks for sticking with me. It's a little overtime today, but I hope it was worth it. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you next week for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. Bye for now.